that. It makes it all worthwhile.
What was it like actually working with her? Because again, I've read that she was fairly volatile at times.
She could be, yeah. Never. I mean, if Sandy blew up, she blew up, and it all went away, and that was fine. You know, it wasn't something that hung around for days or weeks on end. You know, I mean, it was not.
Are you living in America now?
Living in Canada, in Montreal, actually. Yeah. I live up there now. Yeah, I've lived there since 77, I guess.
You work mainly with McGarrigal, or are you?
Pretty much. Well, yeah. I guess I do. There's other little things that I do in Montreal.
Sessions?
Not a lot of sessions. No, there's a couple of... The guy that's playing violin with us now, Joel Zifkin, he and I and a friend of his from Toronto have a little, as yet, unseen and unheard group of a bunch of stuff. Well, Joel, he's written a bunch of songs. We've just been sitting around in living rooms and putting things on tape, and with a view to maybe one of these days taking it out on the road. It's called The Bliminals. The Bliminals. At the moment there's just the three of us, but if we ever get any work together, we'll maybe call on Mr. Conway to come and add his mighty talent to it.
You've been working together for a long time.
On and off, yeah, over the years we sort of crossed paths.
A very special chemistry when the two of you work together.
I like working with him, yeah. There's something, I mean, he's such an easy guy to get on with, you know. I mean, he's such an affable person.
But music is...
Well, but that all rolls into, you know, I mean, it's all part of it. It's, as I was saying earlier, if you get on well with the people you're playing with, you can play a lot easier, and the outcome of the musical outcome generally seems to be a lot nicer in that respect, you know, if you're not fighting all the time. So maybe it's a lot to do with that. We had a great time with Fotheringay. I mean, we're certainly working out our little bits and pieces to add to arrangements. It was fun. It was good.
I suppose you're working on McGarrigal's new LP too.
There's a lot of songs written. Well, I mean, there's enough songs around now for 2 albums, I think, at the minute. It's just a question of...
a long time since the last one.
Yeah, it is, yeah. What is it?
1982.
82, 4 years. That's par for the course.
Yeah.
No, I guess it's going to come soon.
I spoke to Kate the other day, and she said something about September, something like that.
Well, there's a lot of stuff being put on tape in the course of the last 4 years. I mean, aside from a lot of new songs that have been written. We were in the studio in New York for a day and put some things down on tape. Now, whether or not they'll get used is another matter. But there's a bunch of different stuff, you know. Some of it's pure synthesizers and machines. Some of it tends to be more in the folk vein. Some of it's just regular old Kate and Anna doing whatever they do.
An anecdote or just a particular memory that sums up your experience of working with Sandy Denny.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. So, the dog. I like the dog story. She and Trevor got, what was it? It was they bought an Airedale puppy, and we took it away with us. But we used to do a lot of travelling on trains and things. That was our preferred method of getting around, was getting on a train and going to do gigs and things. Anyhow, one way or another, we ended up in Scotland with a dog, this puppy, and we had to get the night train back to London, the sleepers and all that. Of course, so we arrive at the station, and there we all are with our guitars and cases and whatever else we're dragging around with us, and a dog. And lo and behold, here's 11 o'clock at night, that's the only train around, nowhere else to go. I'm sorry, you can't take this dog on the train. No dogs allowed. So it was a question, we had to smuggle it in somehow, shoving it through train windows into compartments. I remember, I have these vague memories of this poor little puppy being stuffed into a window and smothered up in a bed with a blanket. Oh, great things. All sorts of odd things. We just had good times. Great fun. The house in Chichester was good. I mean, we were all living down there for a few months together, which is I mean, we all lived in London, but in separate houses, of course, and then we all went off and moved in together. That was very amicable. It was a very nice family situation. Trevor did a lot of cooking. Sandy was a good cook. We had great times. I mean, there were funny little stories. I'm sure there are a million of them, but just in general, it was a great year for me, and I think for everybody else. I certainly know everyone was very sad that the whole thing collapsed the way it did, and.
But it was fairly amicable, although sad.
Yeah, I mean, I said there was a lot of anger directed, although maybe, I mean, not in person, but directed towards Joe, I think, because everybody felt that he was instrumental in breaking it up, you know. And there was talk of the band staying together, but it wasn't the same thing, you know. I mean, it just wouldn't have been anyway, regardless of, you know, I mean, we put aside the musicianship and everything like that, it just wouldn't have been. You can't have the same band with somebody missing, you know. I mean, but certainly not in that instance, you know. And you certainly can't replace a Sandy Denny with anybody else. You know. Jerry Donahue was adamant that the name was ours and that we keep the name and that we carry on. But it was just the wind is taken out of your sails, you know. I mean, in some cases, the wind just, you know, it's like being hit in the stomach or something, and you just don't really have the get up and go to drag it all off the ground and start again with somebody else, you know. And it certainly wouldn't have been the same. I mean, may have been the nicest person in the world, but it wouldn't have been Sandy. No. And it wouldn't have been Fotheringay. I mean, that was it. And there's a legacy of one album, and fortunately she made some great records after that.
Which a lot of Fotheringay actually
played. Yeah, in bits and pieces, and a lot of fine musicians on it. And you know, I mean, thank God that's here for us to listen to.
Yeah, that's right. When she toured as a solo performer, were you ever involved in any?
Yeah, I did. In fact, I did played the last tour with her, and Dave Maddox was playing drum. I think Jerry he was off doing something else. Trevor was there. A guy called Pete Wilshire was, I think, playing steel guitar.
That was in '78, wasn't it? That the tour to promote Rendezvous? Yeah,
I guess it would have been. Yeah, that was, and we did odds and ends of other things. When she first went to the States, Richard and I and Timmy Donald, the drummer, came over with her to do it. That was, I guess, not long after Fotheringay. Well, after her first solo album, I suppose.
That was when Trevor had joined Fairport.
Trevor had that's right. Trevor was then in Fairport. And Sandy came over to do, we played New York and Los Angeles, and somewhere down in the village, in Greenwich Village. We played for 3 or 4 nights. Then went out to Los Angeles for a week or so. And in between times, I did some, you know, gigs on and off. But so did Peg, and I mean, I think all in all over the years, everybody at some point or another that's in this sort of family has been out on the road with Sandy.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking this morning the very first time I heard Sandy Denny's voice was on Legion Leaf, and then shortly after that, this was in 1970, I just left school, and someone had Fotheringay, and I looked at the cover and I couldn't believe it, and I put that on, and it was just such a beautiful record.
Yeah.
The whole thing it's got such magic.
Yeah.
And everything she did had magic.
Oh yeah. I was listening to
rock and roll songs.
I know, yeah, there's something in there. Yeah, I was listening. Jerry Donahue was playing me some of the stuff that's on, because I haven't heard the set that's come out yet. So But I've heard a couple of things off it. It really brings back a lot of memories listening to it all. And she certainly put her heart and soul into it. And I think, you know, I mean, that all bleeds into everybody else as well, and I think that's where a lot of the magic comes from. All in all, we had a good time though. I'm very glad it all happened.